You need to watch the rest of this video if you want to know what happened to Tyson Jost and the Minnesota Wild, and actually what that ended up doing for the Buffalo Sabres. Let's get into this video. We are talking about Tyson Jost. He is no longer a part of the Minnesota Wild. He was put on waivers, I think, yesterday, and then claimed off of waivers today by the Buffalo Sabres. So we're going to be talking about the different elements to this situation in this video. Let's get into it. We all know who Mr. TJ is. He is a forward for the Wild, and I mean, he came over to the Wild from the Avalanche earlier this year, which was last season in March when the Wild were trying to make a playoff push. He was really supposed to be this superstar. I think going even back to Colorado, supposed to be kind of a superstar and never really was. And he was obviously brought into Minnesota to make a push in the playoffs and make a deep run in the playoffs. Was never really the guy. He was put on, what, the third line, fourth lines and stuff. Maybe this. He was never on the main line. I can tell you that right now. So, you know, he's never been the superstar that I think the Wild wanted him to be, and going into this season especially, and then obviously was never really great in Colorado. So let's talk about what this means. First of all, he was a first-round pick, high expectations, like I said, part of the rebuild for the Avalanche back in 2016, and when they obviously have become really good over the last couple of years, but he just wasn't it. So the Minnesota Wild traded for him. You know, new location might give you some spark, but just really never did a lot. His career stats are in 354 NHL games. He produced 47 goals and 112 points between the two teams. In his final season, which was this year, on contract at least, it was a 2-year, $4 million deal, and he would have been a restricted free agent, but they were just like, yeah, we're done with you, and we're going to put you on waivers because you just could not produce. So that's why he was put on waivers, and now it appears that the Wild are going to be looking in another direction, mainly that Jordan Greenway is going to come back. So that is exciting, and that's the reason this move was made, was that the Wild are really going to rely on the healthiness of Jordan Greenway to come back and be a part of the team. So that's kind of the reason that it was made. Obviously, Jordan Greenway has been injured for most of this season, and with the problems that Jost brought to the Wild, it just probably wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? He did really well in spring training. The preseason, I guess, 7 points in 5 games. It looked like he was going to be the star that he had, you know, hoped to be maybe last year. But then he had 3 assists and no goals in 12 games during this regular season. He really struggled. He was scratched 5 times, including like 3 in a row. Like, he really just kind of went into this situation where it just wasn't good. And he even talks about it after the Stanley Cup. The Avalanche won the Stanley Cup, right? And he talks about it. It was some very dark times. So hopefully everything is okay with Jost and his mindset and, you know, physically, mentally, and everything. But he just couldn't do it on the ice. And the Wild, I think, realized that from the potential that he had to where he was now, just not the same player. He's still young though. That's the crazy thing, and I don't know exactly how hockey works. I'm gonna be straight up. Like, why did he go on waivers instead of being traded? Maybe you guys can help me out in the comments below. My idea is you're cutting a guy, right? Basically, if you're bringing Jordan Greenway back, you have to open up a spot. I know that. And, I mean, some of these guys have been super good. I mean, like Mason Shaw. You look at, I think it's Addison, right? He was really good at the beginning of the year. You can't, and he's a defenseman. But, like, you can't get rid of them, right? So, you look at Jost and his struggles that he's had going into the preseason, or coming out of the preseason into the regular season, just isn't it. And I think they're able to let a guy go like that who just hasn't had, you know, the same mentality and execution out on the ice since coming to the Wild. So interesting. I can't remember who they gave up for Jost, but when that trade happened, I really can't remember. You'll have to let me know about that down in the comments as well. But a 24-year-old, he's young, he's going to help the Sabres. And if you're a Sabres fan watching this video, Are you excited? Like, I feel like for a young Sabres team, I don't know much about them, but they struggled the last couple of years. I think last year, weren't they one of the worst teams in hockey, or maybe the year before that? Like, they were really bad. So to get a young guy, another new place might, help him. He's also not that expensive either. He's young. I think there's a lot of upside for the Sabres, but just not for the Wild. And I think, obviously, if you compare Greenway to Jost, it's not going to be in favor of Jost, maybe 95 times out of 100. But big expectations, I think, for Greenway to come back. And I mean, I think Greenway signed like a 3-year deal last year, I think, didn't he? So for him to be back and healthy, I think, is obviously important for the Wild, and we'll see how they do. But a lot of people agree that this is a good move for the Sabres, and we'll have to see. They've obviously been injured too, so this brings a young forward in and tries to help him out. And maybe since he's a little cheaper and young, he can help out in the injury situation, step up there where he didn't step up in Minnesota, and we'll see what happens. But best of luck to Tyson Jost on the Sabres. Hopefully Greenway comes back and makes an immediate impact for the Wild, because the Wild need it. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little video. Let me know about the comments down below. Like I said, I don't know exactly why they put him on waivers instead of just trying to trade him really quickly. But you let me know down in the comments below. I would have thought they might have traded him, but I don't know. Maybe that's just not the best way to do it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.